Hi there fabric jugglers, it's Babs here from my Fiery Phoenix, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make perfectly mitered corners for Christmas napkins. This is the first in a series of Christmas themed festive tutorials, and this is also the first of the sewing tutorials to be released to the new schedule, which is Monday sewing, Wednesday knitting, Friday crochet. So everybody's getting a bit of the action now rather than it suddenly lumping into one particular technique or skill. And hopefully you're going to enjoy this tutorial, so grab your festive fabric and let's get ready. So what we're going to be doing is sewing ourselves this nice mitered corner, and then once we've done that in all four corners, we'll go through and top stitch. We can either insert a nice backing panel so that you've got a very luxurious looking napkin, or we can just leave it and keep it nice and clean and simple with no backing. It's up to you. There's no right or wrong answer for that. And I'm making this on a slightly smaller scale than I would normally, simply for demonstration purposes. You can use packs of fat quarters and cut them down to 18 by 18, and they look absolutely lovely as a nice opulent size. This one is 10 by 10, which is a nice cocktail napkin size, and it works for this particular demonstration. So what you'll be doing is pressing in 1/4 of an inch around all the edges. You'll then press in the size of your border. Now, because this is slightly smaller, I'm going for 3/4 of an inch, but you could be going for an inch, inch and a half, depending on what you feel like. An inch would probably look about right for an 18-inch square napkin. You've made one pressing at 1/4 of an inch and then one at the size of your final border, all the way around. So I now have a nicely folded, although quite unattractive, corner. So what we're going to do now is grab a ruler and a pencil. So we then open out our folded corners and we leave the original folds, the first part of the hemming fold in, and we're going to measure down twice the length of our particular border. So my border is 3/4, so I'm going to measure down 1.5. If you're going for a single inch border, you would measure across 2, but as I say, I'm going for 3/4, so that's 1.5. Then you mark across diagonally between the 2 points that you have highlighted. Now mine is slightly wonky because I've already sewn in one corner. This won't actually happen when you do this yourselves for the real thing. Then you fold it across and you reverse that and make sure that your two marks line up. So you've got your mark on one side, your mark on the other side, they line up, everything's nice and neat, and we're going to pin that in place. And then we simply sew along this marked line. We're going to backstitch at the beginning and end of both ends of this particular stitch, of this particular seam, hem, seam. Once we have this sewn through, we simply cut off the excess to about 1/4 of an inch. And unpin and turn, and as we turn it through, just use my giant needle to push the corner out. Push the corner out as neatly as possible, and you will see that you now have a beautifully mitered corner. So we now have those two. I'll finish off the other two and then show you the top stitching. So here we have all 4 mitered corners, and very nice they're looking too. So if we wanted to keep this as a nice simple, easy to make, we simply go round and top stitch. If on the other hand you wanted to make it slightly more opulent, you could put a contrasting, or in this case matching, panel of fabric, in which case you'd just slide it in underneath those corners like so, and then pin and top stitch in place. Now I'm not going to do that, I'm going to go with the simple version, and so I'm just going to top stitch around the edges. Now that I'm ready to top stitch, a couple of tips that I'll give you, which I find work very nicely for me, is that to ensure my alignment is even, if I don't have a special fancy foot, I align the fold with the centre of my presser foot, and I move the needle over to the right hand position, which means that it will now, I've got a guide in the centre of my foot, and my needle will always be the same distance. If you've got a fancy foot, excellent, you can use that, and you'll be able to measure distance in a different way. And then this gives us a lovely top stitch. So I shall just continue on, and my second tip for sewing this is when we reach the mitre. So normally we have to guess where we're supposed to stop. However, when we're working with a mitre, all we do is sew up to the seam, and then we pivot on the seam and work our way down the next side, which makes it all so easy. And there we have our finished mitered corners with a pretty top stitch, which looks just as effective from the front. And of course, depending on the colours that you wish to use, you can choose contrasting or disappearing similar colour. So you can either make a feature of your top stitch or have it disappear so that you can barely see it. And that is your mitered corners. Now hopefully that has been of use to you. If it has, please give this a like, a thumbs up, a share, a comment, and share some photos of the beautiful napkins that you've created using this technique, and hopefully that will help you spruce up your Christmas table this festive season. I'll speak to you soon. Bye.